Well, good morning everybody, and welcome to what is an absolutely beautiful early spring morning here in the UK. And I thought I'd bring Skye out this morning for a rather long walk and enjoy the sunshine, and make a short film. Now, it was during one of these walks the other day that I actually thought to myself, wouldn't it be nice if I could carry all my kit around with me and take pictures while I take her on these long walks, but it's just too heavy these days for me, and I think a lot of you will this will resonate with a lot of you that have been carrying heavy kit around for a long time, that actually it has an effect on your back, and I can't do it anymore really. But I actually thought, wouldn't it be nice if I had a camera that I could take around with me and take advantage of some of these things. And then I realised I've got one in my pocket, in my phone. Now, I know it's not the best quality, but actually what do we use pictures for mostly anyway? It's generally just on Instagram and social media. I'm not going to use these for clients or print or whatever, but actually, these phones these days are just so good that I think you could take some really decent shots with them. So everybody who knows me by now will know I like a challenge. So the challenge is that during my walk this morning, I take a worthwhile wildlife nature shot with my iPhone that I put on Instagram and generate 50 likes. I mean, my average like rate on Instagram is somewhere between 50 and 60 for a decent photo. I don't have a huge following, so that's the challenge. I'm not going to tell people I took it with my iPhone. I'm going to put it up and see what happens. So come with me for this walk, and we'll see what we can find. Now, I stopped here because a few seconds ago there was a skylark singing away, and I wanted to share that with you, but it stopped typically. But anyway, one thing I was going to say is that I do realise that with an iPhone there are certain limitations, and I'm certainly not going to get any action shots of wildlife, birds in flight, that sort of thing. So I'm going to concentrate on details, flowers, spring emergence, that sort of thing. And that's the sort of thing that I like to photograph when I'm out and about, just with the dog anyway. Yes, I come across things like hares and deer and birds when I'm out and about, with the dog, but having her with me doesn't allow me to get that close. And I need to be in the right zone, the right mindset to photograph those things that require a lot of concentration, because they're moving all the time. You want to capture their behaviours and what have you. So I'm going to be concentrating on details, on flowers, on that spring emergence basically. So we'll see what we can find. I'm such a shame that skylark isn't singing anymore, but there is another spot along this walk where they proliferate. So hopefully, I'll be able to share that with you, as the walk progresses. So here I am with the first potential shot, and here it is, the trusty iPhone. And I appreciate that daffodils perhaps are a bit of a spring cliche, but hey, there's a reason for that. They're quite a beautiful plant, and they're springing up all over the place, it being late March now. But what it does do, it's very sunny today, which means that there's quite a lot of contrast, so I can't really shoot in the bright sunshine because that would probably produce quite a horrible result. Skye's busy digging away in the leaf litter. It'll probably produce quite a high contrasty, horrible result. So I'm looking for something in dappled light or some sort of soft lighting. And the good thing about daffodils is that they're very bright in colour, and I can set it against a dark background. So I'm going to go for a relatively close-up shot of the flower head against a darker background. Try and separate it a little bit, and let's see how that comes out. So what I'm trying to do here is just reduce the exposure on the camera while using portrait mode, just to try and isolate this daffodil flower head against the darker background. So as you can see, if I move the exposure down, it isolates it a little bit better because it's very, very bright yellow. So we'll take it to about there, and let's take this picture. Yeah, quite pleased with that. I just found some Just found some rather welcome shade. I think I overdid it with the jumper. It's so warm. And with this nice sunny warm weather that we've had for a few days, a lot of the butterflies are starting to come out. So this morning, what I've just seen, as I've been walking along this path, you can see this sort of line of trees there. Holly blue. So that's the first holly blue I've seen of the year. I've had small tortoiseshell, peacock and brimstone. Now the sort of small tortoiseshell and the peacock will be adults that have overwintered, but the brimstone is always the first one to emerge in the spring, so that's always lovely to see that, you know, that lovely bright vibrant colour fluttering around the countryside. It's always one of the sort of first beautiful signs of spring. It's always one I look for, and they've been out for about 4 or 5 days now, but it's so nice to see so many other species out and about. I mean, it really is unseasonably warm. I mean, I reckon it'll hit 20 degrees today. So I'm just coming up to the place now where hopefully you'll be able to hear skylark. So I'll stop in a minute and just see if you can pick up the song on the camera. I mean, I can hear it distantly, so it's quite faint, but we'll see if you can hear it. Typically it's stopped, but I can see a buzzard circling in the sky a couple of 100 yards away. It's quite a lot. In fact, I came up here 2 or 3 weeks ago and there was something obviously dead in the field, and there were probably half a dozen red kites and 3 or 4 buzzards all, you know, on the carcass. So that was pretty. There, that's the skylark. Hopefully the camera will have picked that up for you. It's singing behind me here over the field. Such a beautiful sound. So again, a sound of summer, I always think skylark. I always remember days sat by the River Kennet in Berkshire fishing, and the fields behind were full of skylark. They're ground nesting birds that use the arable fields for their nests, and they'll typically fly up, hover and sing like you can hopefully hear in the background, and then just flutter straight back down. It's amazing to watch, and this is quite a good spot for them. I've been meaning to come here and try and photograph them because they fly over the path that I'm walking quite a lot, and they use either side, the fields either side of the path, I'm sure, to nest and roost. And sometimes in periods of dry weather like this, I mean there's no water in the puddles at the moment, but they'll come down and drink in the puddles on the path as well. So when it rains, when it's nothing on the forecast for the next week or two, but when it rains perhaps they'll do that. But if you listen, quite a lot of them singing now. It's a wonderful sound. So I'm just making my way to a little copse, and I thought that might be the best opportunity for me to grab a decent shot, seeing as it's so bright. So I need some shade, and hopefully there'll be some woodland plants or some nice leaf detail or something like that to have a go at. So I'll show you. The copse is just coming up behind me here, hopefully. Sorry, I'm looking at the screen so I get the framing right. Hopefully you can see that behind me. I said it's very bright today, so you can see I'm squinting. I've got the sunglasses on top of my head. Yeah, well, we'll see what we can find. They said hopefully there'll be some early flowering plants. There'll be wood anemone in there. It's a bit of ancient woodland because there are bluebells, which is always a good indicator. They won't be out yet, but you know, all the leaves are coming up. But hopefully there might be sort of wood anemone. I've seen celandine and stitchwort earlier on in the walk. So, you know, hopefully some of those will be out as well. So maybe we can have a go at 1 or 2 of those plants. We'll see. Anyway, I'll see you in a bit. So there you go, that's wood anemone. We've just walked into the copse, and that's on the edge, so flowering, you know, in the sunnier parts of the copse. I've seen it already on the walk this morning, so I knew it was out. It's out in the local wood. And we've also got, if you can see these sort of large leaves here, that's lords and ladies, arums. You can see them. They've got, some of them will come up with a rather beautiful flower spike, and I'll put a picture on to show you what they look like. And there's another lovely spring plant, which is the primrose, of course, and just to the right, you'll see in the corner here, just there, is a dog violet, early dog violet. So all these things are starting to come, and I can see lots of early shoots for the bluebells too, so it won't be long before they're out. You give it a couple of weeks and I expect they'll be starting to come out, but yeah, it's lovely to be out and to enjoy these things. Well, I don't know whether you can see that, but that's bluebell already flowering. I mean, we are what, the 22nd of March, I think it is today. 22nd of March, and there's a bluebell on its way. And Skye's coming to investigate. It's just flown past me. She loves these woodlands. That looks like a really fresh plant, and I'm going to try and give that a go, you know, with the iPhone, trying to create something which is a bit. I quite like the backlighting on that. Let's see if we can create a really nice image of that. The first of the year's bluebells. Wow. Pretty good. So I think I found another shot. Basically, it's a bright yellow spring flower called Lesser celandine. You'll see it along the roadside verges, grows in quite some proliferation and sort of woodland edges. It's a beautiful plant, flowers from sort of March through to April, and it's set in amongst some fresh nettles, as I can testify, because my legs are stinging at the moment, even through quite thick trousers, because they're quite vicious at this time of the year, because I've just been kneeling down and trying to get a shot. And a load of cleavers, or sticky weed, you'll remember as a kid throwing onto the backs of your schoolmates. And that's a plant that proliferates on these arable field edges here, where there are lots of sort of artificial fertilizers have been used. So I'll show you that composition now. So 2 doesn't normally work, I prefer 3, but actually I think it does in this circumstance. So that's where I started, and I took a couple of pictures but couldn't really get something that I really like. So I've kind of moved around a little bit, and I'll try and do this for you now. Try and show you effectively what I went for. So it's that sort of thing that I tried to go for, wider angle shot, even turned the camera up like that. You'll see Skye in the background there. She's taking an interest. She's coming to help. So that's the sort of thing that I tried, and I'll put a couple of those up for you now. Well, I just had to show you this. As I was walking back, I just found this bank that's absolutely full of Lesser celandine and other spring flowers, and is alive with butterflies and other insects. And I've just taken another shot, actually another wide angle shot of the celandines on the bank, and I'll put that up for you now. I thought I would take that while I could. There's a tractor circulating in the field as well behind me, but I'll just show you this beautiful bank of spring flowers. I mean, this is why I love this time of the year. Just look at this. So Skye and I decided we'd sit quietly for a minute. We've had a beautiful walk. I mean, seen so many things this morning. Bird-wise, we've had yellowhammer, skylark, linnet, buzzard, you know, some really lovely species, and lots of stuff singing as we've been walking along. Butterfly-wise, holly blue, small tortoiseshell, peacock, brimstone. So lovely to see those insects emerge again. There's been bumblebees and honeybees flying around and pollinating the early flowering plants. I mean, plant-wise, we've had dog violet, we've had celandines, stitchworts, that bluebell coming up, the wood anemone, primrose. Those are just the things I can remember. Oh, blackthorn starting to blossom. So spring is really arriving. So we've had a wonderful walk. So what I thought I'd do is we'd sit down for 5 minutes, and I would choose one of the pictures I've taken with my iPhone this morning, not do any editing at all, and post it to Instagram, which is what I've just done. So I haven't touched that photo at all. It's up on my Instagram feed. I'll wait for a couple of days before I post this video just to see how many likes we get on it, and we'll give you the result at the end of the video. So thanks very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Please do subscribe, give us a thumbs up, and hit that bell icon for notifications of new videos, and do leave comments about the images and the video in the comments section below, as I'd love to know what you thought of today's images, all taken with my iPhone. So thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you all again next time.